Chapter 11, The Final Abyss with Garyx and Loth. I could look past the torture and trying to kill me for so long now. Garyx floated over the ravaged body of the Spider Queen, who was now half the size of Garyx. Behind and all around, these two were undead things and shadowy demons waging battle. The ghouls, zombies, and Zikarlas kept the shadow demons at bay. I could have even forgiven how many times you have sent pathetic assassins after me. Garyx held his sword up. One thing I cannot forgive is your uselessness. You are truly of no value to me at all, Loth. Literally, if you offered up anything, even remotely useful to me, I would not kill you. Garyx placed his fingers in between his eyes, closing his eyes. You are the goddess of spiders. Really? Spiders. I can't do anything with that. I know what you're thinking. Garyx bent down, still above his foe. You are also the goddess of darkness. That I can do something with. Well, I can do far more with it than you. Standing back up straight, Garyx prepared himself. A singular, bloodied, broken, and smashed leg slowly rose from Loth. The Spider Queen attempted to talk. You will... Garyx held his sword up. Oh, this should be generic. What pathetic phrase are you going to say? Die? No, it wouldn't be die. Would it lose? That would at least make sense. Suffer! Loth flopped over, unable to move from her wounds. Garyx frowned, shaking his head in disappointment. Thrusting his sword down, the mage cut off the head of Loth. Darkness oozed from her wounds, spilling over the floor, forming a puddle impossible to see through liquid. Garyx himself stood in that darkness. It moved with a life all its own as it spiraled up in the air, moving around. The mage dropped his swords, holding his arms out and eyes closed. This darkness rose from the four corners of the puddle. Streaming up, it swirled around him, covering more and more of Garyx until he could no longer be seen, but was nothing but a floating black sphere of air. The zombies and shadow demons ceased their movement. Ghouls stood thoughtless, with arms hanging down, swaying, uncaring. Shadow demons looked around, nervous. They had never seen their goddess lose before. Some looked at each other, others wondering what to do, while others stared at the spot she died in disbelief. Most shadow demons, however, stared confused and waited at the solid dark sphere floating in the air. That, which was the blood of their goddess, was motionless, doing nothing. What? A demon hissed. Is going on? Our queen has fallen! I am in command now, a large demon bellowed. Nonsense! Loth always trusted me the most, raged another. The demons argued with each other for a long period of time. None of them noticed the ghouls running back into the portals. None of these thousands of demons took note of the wind picking up in a place that only had wind when Loth willed it. The portals closed after the final ghoul ran in. Who? The voice of Garyx whispered to every demon. Every demon became silent at that whisper. Believes they are now in charge, Garyx whispered to them all. 3 demons floated forward, facing the dark sphere. I am, they boldly said simultaneously. All 3 burst into light that smeared on the floor. Does anyone else believe they have any authority here? Garyx whispered in a calm wind around their ears. A dozen or so demons attempted to run away, flying as fast as their half-gaseous forms allowed them. They exploded with the same light. Does anyone else believe that it is a good idea to run from me? Garyx whispered. 1,000 shadow demons knelt before the black sphere that was Jairus, their new god. No remaining demons spoke or moved. A grin formed on the sphere of darkness. There is so much work to do. Does anyone object? Silence was all that existed. No sound was made by any demon or anything here. Good. First things first, the new god whispered. This physical appearance displeases me. The black sphere vibrated, forming 5 separate tendrils. The tendrils thickened, shaping into arms, legs, and a head. A piece of blackness remained, and a smaller sphere that floated behind this person shaped darkness. Behind him formed a sort of cloth that draped down over his body, connected to his head. Inside of his head, solid white eyes opened. A ring formed on each of his hands. The sphere behind him blinked into a large bulbous eye that had tiny tentacles protruding from where eyelashes would be. The large eye connected to this body through a cord that stretched from its back to the body's back. Better! When speaking, a solid white mouth appeared where one should be. When silent, that mouth did not exist. Dagon? Yes. The eye echoed in the room, both verbally and telepathically. Look at this. How does it feel to be a god once again? Jairus asked. I am not a god. I am just a part of you. So? Do you like it or not? I can expel you now if you want this to be your end. Dagon ignored the empty threat. We are close to being our true self again. A thin smile flashed over the face of the new god of darkness. Looking down at his new form, his smile vanished. Why didn't anything extraordinary happen when Loth was killed? The base of the mountain. Siege machines clicked as their gears were turned. Men cranked the levers as they sweat in the hot midday sun. Above them, and unknown to them, floated the angels protecting them from threats they deemed worthy of their interference. Ranks of soldiers stood between the mountain and the siege machines, protecting their best arsenal from any preemptive strikes that might happen. Their ranks consisted of horseback knights in the front, heavily armored soldiers on the ground with large shields and long swords took up the second rank. 20 ranks, starting with the third rank, were the main bulk of the army of Babylon. These soldiers all wore light enough armor to run in, yet heavy enough to take a strong blow from a mighty swing. Their moderate armor in the central ranks all bore the symbol of Guardian, the 6 connecting spheres forming into a circle. Their weapons had no variation, as they all wielded a simple shield which also bore the symbol of Guardian and simple sword. Behind the central ranks were 2 final ranks of archers. These archers held their bow at their sides. They wore the lightest armor. Rushing down the mountain, Jason, Alvaro, and Clemo, mounted a transformed Gerald, moved to meet the army head-on. Clemo, with his superior eyes, saw it. At first, he believed it was a normal dark cloud lining the horizon, until that cloud had distinctive details that could not be gaseous. It moved as a swarm. What is that? Clemo said to himself. Looking closer, concentrating his enchanted eyes to zoom in, he saw the dragon men clearly. They were coming. Jason! Without slowing down, Jason turned his head to Clemo. What is it? Clemo pointed at the cloud. Look! Jason looked at the cloud, squinting his eyes. What is that? Dragon men, Alvaro Listo shouted, confirming Klimo's words. The force stopped in the air, only halfway down the mountain. What do we do? Klimo asked. I do not know. I can only suspect that they were sent by Garyx, but why? Garyx wants us dead. Why would he attack now? Alvaro asked. Divine chess, Jason said. Everyone looked at Jason. Think about it. I've already lost. Granted, I lost in the future, but nothing can change that. If it is the future, then we can prevent it, Klimo shouted. Jason waved his hand, dismissing the notion. If I were mortal, yes, but time works differently for gods. At the very most, I can live as a mortal, but I cannot win a battle I have already lost, even if it hasn't already happened yet. On top of the mountain, Ross Carvanister, stuck in human form, looked down at the waiting army of humans, then at the ongoing army of dragon men on the ground, then at Jason and his companions. Frowning, he kicked the ground. I die here? This is absurd. I am a mighty red dragon, not some pathetic human. You will die on this mountain. A deep voice came from in front of the dragon in human form. Ross Carvanister looked up to see the air twisting into an image of the eye of Garyx. You could have lived comfortably as a dragon, probably even took this pathetic planet over, and I would not have cared. You sided with my enemy. Your punishment is to die as a human. Brother, no! It doesn't have to be like this. The man fell to his knees. Show more pride than that. Red dragons never grovel. You only proved me right in revoking your dragon heritage. Then kill me yourself. End it here and now. Oh, I would if I could, brother. What is that supposed to mean? The middle of the mountain surface. Do we fight, retreat, or what? Klimo asked. This changes nothing, Jason said, propelling his body forward. The others followed suit. Jumping off of Gerald's back, Klimo vanished, teleporting away. Down at the mountain base, 2 archers were stabbed by Klimo's swords. Their screams were heard by the other 3. Damn it, Klimo, Jason said, teleporting down to assist his friend. Alvaro grabbed Gerald. No time like the present, he said, teleporting the 2 of them down as well. Archers scrambled to get out of the way as the central ranks attempted to move in, swinging their swords. Gerald altered his form again, making himself a large, hulking beast towering over the soldier by over 10 feet, then swung his massive arms. Caught entirely by surprise, a dozen soldiers were swept off of their feet, flying away from the attack of Gerald. Klimo stabbed one archer, then teleported to another. Arrows were shooting down at Klimo. With a wave of his hand, they were teleported individually back to their points of origin, where every attacking archer was shot by their own arrows. You've really improved, Klimo, Jason commented. Twinkle taught me a lot this last year. That constantly battling red dramatically heightened my senses. Klimo, without slowing down as his swords decapitated a soldier of Babylon. Alvaro Listo was no longer in flight. His feet zoomed across the ground, moving with a power he had been waiting to use. The speed of Gratz is amazing. Alvaro reached the first siege machine, touching it, and charged the thing with kinetic energy. The siege machine brightened. What is this? The operator of the first siege machine scratched his head, confused by how his machine was illuminating. He did not finish the sentence as the thing exploded, killing him instantly. Rushing to the second siege machine, Alvaro touched it, causing the exact same effect. The second operator jumped out, refusing to have the same fate as the comrade just seconds earlier. Gerald fell to the ground, impaled by over 100 arrows. Klimo teleported next to him, and the two vanished from sight. The top of the mountain. Klimo and the large form of Gerald appeared next to Carvonister in human form. "Help him!" Klimo shouted, then vanished, to return back to the fray. "Is this what I have been reduced to? A healer of humans?" The dragon made a disgusted face. "Can you help him?" a nearby person asked. Roskar Varnuster sighed as his hands glowed, touching Gerald, causing the arrows to fall out and the wounds to close. "I'm not healing this one again. If he is stupid enough to charge into battle like that a second time, then the universe is better off without him." The dragon was appalled by the surrounding residents. He shrugged. "What do you want from me? I healed him, didn't I?" The battle continued. Alvaro rushed to the third siege machine, running past a man on horseback who was staring at him. Alvaro paid him no attention, as this man threw something at the speeding psychic. Hitting with true aim, Alvaro fell to the ground, unable to move. His speed power ended immediately. The horseback man galloped to the fallen, immobile psychic. Dismounting, he approached Alvaro. His face was dirty and general appearance was husky, with a face that had not shaved in months, if not years. "You mage types are so predictable." Alvaro stared at him. "I am not a mage." Manifesting a connect power to push this man, Alvaro smiled. Nothing happened. Bending down, this man opened his palm, revealing a small crystal. "I know." The man smiled, causing Alvaro to drop his. "I hate those things," the disabled psychic said. Placing his mouth next to Alvaro's ear, the man whispered, "As a witch hunter, I've dealt with you psychics before. It will be my god's greatest moment when your kind is wiped out." "Guardian will fall," Alvaro insisted, contrary to his knowledge of his own downfall. Continuing to whisper, the man said, "Hail Garyx." Pulling his head back revealed his insidious smile. Alvaro was speechless, having no idea how to respond. Klimo looked up, remembering the angels. He teleported next to Jason. "Why aren't they attacking?" Jason fired a blast of energy, destroying 10 soldiers that were running to him. "Because we are not perceived as worth their time. They are waiting for a bigger threat." Pointing in the distance, Klimo saw the dragonmen rapidly approaching. "Them? They're almost here. Is that what they're waiting for?" Jason shook his head, still fighting. "No! Trust me, I already saw it during my fight with Guardian. A more dangerous threat than us, and a bigger threat than those dragonmen is coming soon." "Isn't Guardian worried about his people dying by our hand?" Klimo asked. "Those men have faith in Guardian. Guardian has faith in his men. He believes they can prevail without his divine help." Jason saw the helpless Alvaro on the ground 100 meters away. "And it seems he might be right." Klimo attempted to teleport Alvaro, but Jason uses psychic powers to prevent it. "Wait! We need to help! Let me go, Jason." Jason pointed to 24 other horseback men that each resembled the one standing over Alvaro. "If something is powerful enough to take down the most powerful psychic, do you honestly believe it is a good idea to rush in there, swinging thoughtlessly?" In the perpetual moment of time, with the rapid sun that rose and set, Guardian sat once again at the same table. His face was stern, staring at his foe. He said nothing. You were quite chatty with your last opponent. Nothing to say to me. You were a demon. I do not indulge in your kind, Guardian said dryly. I am a god first, dragon second, and a devil third. Sitting across from Guardian towered a dragon. It had shimmering red scales, massive relaxed wings, and a smile across its lips. His eyes were solid black, swirling with a mystery that only he knew. Jason killed your brother. I would think someone who murdered none of your kin, would be treated better. I will not indulge in your words, Guardian retorted. You really did believe I am a demon, and not a devil, didn't you? Garyx taunted. Though from your ignorant perspective, I can understand why you believed that. You and your siblings truly are the stupidest gods I've ever known. I mean, really, why would you even care about mortals' souls? I will not indulge, Guardian said a third time. So boring, disappointing, and a waste of a god. I am going to kill you, though. I mean, it is why we are here, isn't it? Garyx mocked. Do you ever shut up? Guardian asked. Good. I am glad you can at least speak something different. Your mindless rhetoric was annoying, though your words are still mindless. I will not indulge. Guardian's face remained unchanged. Pathetic. I bet Sabin would offer up a better conversation than this. Garyx sniffed the air, then spat a small fireball from his nostril, huffing it out to the side, where it flew away. Speaking of Sabin, why on Corvus is he letting you fight alone? Why did you let your brother fight alone? I will not indulge. So you keep saying. You are. Garyx was interrupted. I will not indulge. I will indulge, came the voice of Jarius. The two gods looked to see a third god sitting at their table. Jarius Kane, the god of darkness, had his form dripping tangible shadows like coloring in water. It floated about harmlessly. The floating eye of Dagon lingered behind him, still connected to his back through a cord of shadow. You have been a god for not even 5 minutes, and you all are already challenging other gods? Garyx laughed. I've been a god before, Jarius said. How many universes ago was that? Garyx asked. The last one. You already knew that, Jarius said. We killed your true form then. We'll do it again, Guardian said. Waving his hand, dismissed the words. I killed you twice in the last universe, Guardian. I do not believe you would come back if I kill you a third. Holding his shadowed hand out, Jarius examined it. Besides, all of you obliterated the entire multiverse just to kill me. Somehow I doubt you have that option this time. You are nowhere near as powerful, Guardian retorted. I killed Loth as a mortal, Jarius snickered. A thing we will never hear the end of, no doubt, Garyx mocked. You killing her did you more harm than good, Guardian said. Garyx scoffed at Jarius. You were a fool to do that. You should have killed Guardian and Sabin first. That is what I would have done. And in the long run, you would have lost, Jarius turned his head to Guardian, narrowing his eyes. Besides, I could not have foreseen that killing Loth would alter the universe like that. Idiot! Garyx slammed his tail down. She was the goddess of demons. What did you think would happen? I thought the abyss would be affected, not the material plane, Jarius said. Guardian smiled for the first time. That's right, Jarius and Garyx. Loth was the only thing that made it possible for fiends to even enter the material plane. With her no longer existing, such a thing is impossible for both demon and devil, which is what you two are. I am the only god of demons, Jarius said. A demon god is still a demon, and since demons can no longer enter the material plane, you have actually given Jason what he wanted this whole time. If anything, I thank you, Jarius, for ensuring that pure evil can never again enter the mortal world, Guardian said. Too bad you won't live long enough to thank me further for killing the 9 devil gods, Jarius said, pointing at Garyx. Starting with him, of course. Garyx bellowed his laughter. That would be a very neat trick. However will you do that without the use of your sword? 2 problems, with that, Garyx. Jarius swirled his darkness into tiny shapes around his body. Firstly, you presume my sword will be incapacitated. Secondly, I wouldn't need it to kill you. Can you prove that? The dragon god said. Is that a challenge? Jarius questioned. Yes, it is. And what would you give up in return during that fight? Garyx placed a claw over his chin, clasping it in thought. I already cannot interfere directly on the material plane. The skin of Jarius pulsated. Neither can I. Try something else. My flame shall be hindered. Pfft, it's just as well. My sword is far better than some pathetic lower god's fire. I doubt you can have anything that will ever come close to matching mine. So I will accept. Both evil gods looked at Guardian. Guardian stared at Jarius, then at Garyx. My armor. Oh? Yes, that armor is quite powerful. It shattered the psychic god's avatar in one shot, Garyx remarked. Then the 3 of us agree. Our fight will begin under these conditions, Guardian said. Jarius placed his shadowed hand in the center of the table, then nodded. A wave passed through him, and appearing encased in a clear block of stone was his Godslayer sword. Retracting his hand, he then looked at Garyx. Garyx placed a claw on the center of the table. His throat brightened with a ball of light, then disappeared. Forming next to the center block was a sphere holding a fire in the center. He retracted his claw. Both Jarius and Garyx then looked at Guardian. Guardian extended his hand. His whole body illuminated as the very armor he wore vanished, leaving over his skin commoner clothing of no particular significance. A large person-shaped block appeared next to the other 2 clear blocks. Inside of that block was the armor of Guardian. And now to present our champions, Guardian said. My emissary is as it always was, Zane. He will destroy yours, then I will destroy you. Jarius and Zane looked at Guardian. Lazan, former worshipper of deity, and current leader of my draconic army. He has never failed me. Jarius laughed. He has only been with you a few weeks. As a Devour, you should have better emissaries. Garyx slammed his claw on the table. Jarius put his hands up. Yes, I know. Get on with it. Leaning back in his chair, Jarius casually said, Climo. Guardian shook his head. I am both disappointed and underwhelmed by you. You should have picked Jason, Garyx said, shaking his head too. The thin, solid, white smile formed on the dark god's face. Jason would have been the obvious choice, wouldn't it? Now what is their challenge? Guardian asked. I will defend first, Jarius said, extending his hands, pointing at the other two gods. Decide my challenge. Guardian stood up, pointing at an image of Climo on the table. Keep him alive. I am coming for him. Accepted. Jarius Kane's smile widened. End of chapter 11.